Every sensor on station harmony screamed at the same time. The binary stars of Talus 7 cast their usual orange glow through the observation windows, but nobody was looking at the view anymore. 47 species representatives had been discussing grain tariffs when the alarms went off. Now they stared at screens showing readings that made no sense. Ambassador Quern's compound eyes flickered between displays. As a Havresh, his insectoid nervous system processed data faster than most species in the chamber. Right now, that was not a blessing. The gravitational anomaly appearing at the system's edge registered mass signatures that exceeded anything in Council records. "Analysis," demanded Security Chief Gren. The Sauric scales had flushed dark purple, a clear sign of agitation in his reptilian species. Chief Science Officer Brell manipulated holographic controls with webbed fingers. His amphibious biology made him uniquely suited for long observation shifts, but nothing had prepared him for this. Initial readings suggested a rogue planet or asteroid cluster. Visual confirmation is coming through now. The main display flickered. What appeared made several representatives gasp. Others made sounds of distress in their native languages. A few simply fell silent. It was a ship. The vessel stretched 47 kilometers from bow to stern. Station Harmony's Pride, the Council flagship, measured 8 kilometers and was considered enormous. This thing dwarfed it completely. The hull was dark metallic gray with blue energy conduits running along its length like glowing veins. Weapon ports dotted the surface. Hundreds of them. "That cannot be real," Trade Minister Voss whispered. His avian species had explored space for 12,000 years. They had seen many wonders. This was not wonder. This was terror. Gren was already issuing orders. All military vessels to defensive positions. Raise station shields. Prepare evacuation protocols. "How many ships do we have in range?" Ambassador Quern asked, though he suspected the answer would not comfort anyone. 200 vessels. Our largest is the flagship at 12 kilometers. Gren's voice was tight. No species in Council history has ever constructed anything above 15 kilometers. The resources required, the engineering challenges, the energy demands. It should be impossible. The massive vessel moved with impossible grace. Something that large should not maneuver so smoothly. Its deceleration was controlled, precise, showing propulsion technology far beyond anything the Council possessed. It came to a complete stop 50,000 kilometers from the station, close enough to be threatening, far enough to avoid immediate confrontation. Silence filled the Council chamber. 200 ships against one seemed like good odds until you considered that one ship outmassed the entire fleet combined. If whoever built this thing wanted violence, the battle would be very short. "Initiate first contact protocols," Quern said quietly. His voice carried the authority of 300 years of diplomatic service. The communications team broadcast on all frequencies, 47 different languages, mathematical sequences, prime numbers, visual symbols of peace, every method the Council had developed over millennia of exploring the galaxy. 3 hours and 42 minutes passed. The giant ship simply waited. Its systems hummed with power. Its weapons remained inactive but ready. The Council representatives argued in hushed tones about what to do if the ship attacked. Evacuation plans were refined. Emergency jumps were calculated. None of it would matter if that ship decided to open fire. Then the transmission arrived. The language was completely unknown. Harsh consonants mixed with flowing vowels in patterns no Council species used. Translation matrices struggled to process the complexity. The computer systems worked frantically, searching for common linguistic roots, mathematical patterns, anything to build understanding. Finally, a breakthrough came. The universal trade dialect, spoken with a heavy accent but understandable. A face appeared on the main display. The being was bipedal with bilateral symmetry, common enough in the galaxy. But those eyes, Forward-facing predator eyes that tracked movement with unsettling focus. Smooth skin instead of scales or fur or chitin. Hair on the head but nowhere else visible. The face was mobile and expressive in ways that suggested complex emotional communication. "My apologies for the delay," the being said. Its voice was deep and measured. "We needed time to learn your languages properly. I am Captain David Hall of the United Human Nations starship Titan's Herald. We come from a world called Earth, located approximately 340 light-years from your position. We discovered your station while conducting exploration and mapping operations." The being, this human, paused. His eyes seemed to take in every detail of whoever was watching from the council's side. "We come in peace. We seek diplomatic contact and cultural exchange. We understand our arrival may have caused alarm. Our ship is large by necessity, not by choice. We request permission to send a small diplomatic delegation to your station. 3 individuals, unarmed, in a shuttle craft. We will comply with any security protocols you deem appropriate." The transmission ended. The council chamber remained silent for a long moment. Ambassador Quern found his voice first. "He learned our languages in less than 4 hours. "That ship," Brell said slowly, his scientific mind working through implications, "is an exploration vessel. They said so explicitly. If this is what they send to explore, what do their warships look like?" Gren's scales had gone nearly black. "We need to vote. Do we allow them to board?" The debate erupted immediately. Some demanded the humans leave. Others argued for hearing them out. Technology that could build such ships might be shared, or it might be used to conquer. Nobody knew which possibility frightened them more. The vote was called. Representatives entered their choices into secured systems. The count appeared on Quern's private display. 31 in favor of receiving the delegation. 16 against. Democracy had spoken, though many who voted yes did so with deep misgivings. "Transmit our acceptance," Quern ordered. "But I want 50 armed guards in that docking bay. Non-lethal weapons only. If they truly come in peace, we will not be the ones to start violence." The response from Titan's Herald came quickly. "Thank you, Ambassador. We are launching our shuttle now. We look forward to meeting you." Through the observation windows, a small craft detached from the massive ship. Even the shuttle was large, 200 meters of sleek design. It approached the station slowly, respectfully, broadcasting its trajectory continuously so there would be no surprises. Quern watched it dock. Somewhere aboard that tiny shuttle were beings from a species the galaxy had never encountered. Beings who built ships that made council engineering look primitive. Beings who called themselves human. Whatever happened next would change everything. For better or worse remained to be seen. The airlock cycled with a hiss that seemed louder than it should have been. 50 council guards stood ready, weapons charged but not aimed. Their species varied from insectoid to reptilian to crystalline, but all shared the same tension. The inner door opened. 3 humans stepped through. They wore dark blue uniforms with golden insignias on the shoulders. The fabric looked simple but well-made. No visible weapons, though their belts held small devices whose purposes were unclear. The lead human was tall with graying hair at his temples. His movements were controlled and efficient in a way that suggested high-gravity adaptation. Behind him came a shorter human with sharp, intelligent eyes, and a younger male whose alert posture marked him as security despite carrying no obvious arms. Captain David Hall stopped 3 meters from the nearest guards and placed his right hand over his chest in what appeared to be a gesture of respect. "I am Captain David Hall. This is Dr. Rebecca Ford, our cultural liaison and xenobiologist. Lieutenant Peter Grant, security detail. Thank you for receiving us." Ambassador Quern stepped forward from the observation platform above the docking bay. "Welcome to Station Harmony. I am Ambassador Quern, current head of the Galactic Council. Please, follow me to the main chamber. Your ship will remain undisturbed." The walk through the station's corridors gave the council members their first chance to truly observe humans in motion. They moved smoothly despite the station's gravity being lower than they seemed accustomed to. Their heads turned to take in architectural details, alien script on walls. Passing council members of various species, Dr. Ford smiled at everyone they encountered. Not a threat display, but genuine friendliness. It was disarming. The main chamber held all 47 species representatives. The humans were offered seats at the center table, traditionally reserved for petitioning parties. Captain Hall sat with his back straight, hands folded on the table. Dr. Ford placed a small device between them. Lieutenant Grant stood behind them, relaxed but watchful. "Please," Quern began, "tell us about your people." Hall nodded. "Humanity discovered faster-than-light travel 80 years ago. We are relatively new to interstellar space compared to your civilization. Our homeworld, Earth, orbits a yellow star in what we call the Orion arm of the galaxy. We have colonized 12 systems, and our population across all worlds numbers approximately 45 billion individuals." Brell's webbed fingers moved across his datapad. 45 billion, that is substantial, and this Titan's Herald, it is your largest vessel. "It is one of 7 Titan-class ships in our exploration fleet," Hall said simply. The chamber erupted. Seven ships of that size. The economic resources required boggled the mind. The industrial capacity was staggering. The implications were terrifying. Gren's voice cut through the noise. "Why do explorers need weapons? Your ship bristles with them." Hall's expression became somber. "Security, Chief, we come from a dangerous world. Earth has high gravity, aggressive predators, and hostile environments. We learned early that the universe does not reward the careless or unprepared. Our ships are built to survive. We hope never to use our weapons in anger, but we refuse to be helpless if threatened." Honest, Quern thought, brutally honest. The human could have lied or deflected. Instead, he stated truth plainly. Dr. Ford activated her device. A holographic display appeared, showing a blue and green world. "This is Earth. Gravity is 0.4 units higher than your standard. Atmospheric oxygen at 21%, nitrogen 78%. Surface temperature ranges from Arctic to desert extremes. Native predators include creatures weighing several tons with teeth designed to crush bone. Our oceans contain animals over 30 meters long. Evolution on Earth was a constant fight for survival." Trade Minister Voss leaned forward. "You are Deathworlders." The term hung in the air. Deathworlder, a theoretical classification for species evolving on highly dangerous planets. The Council had never actually encountered one. Such worlds rarely produced space-faring civilizations because survival consumed too many resources. "We prefer to think of ourselves as adaptable," Hall said carefully. "Yes, Earth is more dangerous than most worlds you have cataloged, but that danger taught us resilience, innovation, and the value of cooperation. We built civilization despite the odds, not because of them." Quern found himself believing the captain. There was no arrogance in the human's voice, no superiority, just quiet pride in what his species had accomplished. "What do you want from the Council?" Quern asked. "Friendship," Hall said immediately. "Trade, cultural exchange, scientific cooperation. We have been alone among the stars for 8 decades. Finding you, finding this community of species working together peacefully, it gives us hope. We want to be part of something larger than ourselves." "And if we refuse?" Gren asked bluntly. Hall met the security chief's eyes without flinching. "Then we will leave. We will not impose our presence where it is unwanted, but we would ask that you remember we came in peace, that we respected your sovereignty, and that if you ever need help, we would still answer that call." Dr. Ford pulled up more data. "We have prepared a complete cultural database. Our history, art, music, literature, scientific achievements. We offer this freely with no expectation of reciprocation. We want you to know who we are before you decide if you want to know us better. The database transfer began. Council systems processed terabytes of information. Images of Earth flashed by, cities of glass and steel, vast oceans, mountain ranges, but also darker images. War, destruction, weapons. The humans had not edited their history to look peaceful. You fought each other, Brell observed, watching footage of ancient conflicts. Yes, Hall admitted. Humanity has a violent past. We are not proud of all we have done, but we learned from our mistakes. We grew. We changed. The United Human Nations was formed to prevent the wars that nearly destroyed us. We have maintained peace on Earth for 130 years. It is our greatest achievement. Voss studied economic data scrolling past. Human industrial capacity was extraordinary. Their manufacturing techniques were decades ahead of Council standards. Their energy production dwarfed anything in known space, and they wanted to trade this technology. Why offer us so much? Voss asked suspiciously. What do you gain? Partners, Dr. Ford said simply. Knowledge shared is knowledge multiplied. You have biological sciences we can only dream of. Your energy shield technology surpasses ours. Your mathematical frameworks for quantum calculations are elegant beyond description. We learn from you. You learn from us. Everyone benefits. The questions continued for hours. Humans answered everyone with patience and candor. They explained their government structure, their economic systems, their military organization. They discussed Earth's ecosystems, human biology, cultural diversity within their own species. They shared without holding back. Finally, Quern called for recess. Captain Hall, we need time to deliberate. Will you and your delegation accept quarters here while we discuss? We would be honored. Hall stood and performed that chest gesture again. Whatever you decide, thank you for listening. As the humans were escorted to guest quarters, Quern gathered his thoughts. They seemed genuine. Their offerings were generous. But that ship, those weapons, that massive fleet they claimed to possess, it represented power the Council had never faced before. He looked at his fellow representatives. Fear showed on many faces, hope on others, greed on a few. They would debate and vote and decide humanity's fate. Quern only hoped they made the right choice. The council chamber doors sealed with a heavy thud. No observers allowed for this debate. Just 47 species representatives deciding whether to welcome or reject the most powerful beings they had ever encountered. Gren spoke first. His military training demanded he address the obvious threat. One Titan-class ship could destroy our entire fleet. They have 7, possibly more. If we accept them and they later turn hostile, we have no defense. None. They could conquer Council space in weeks. They could conquer us right now, countered Trade Minister Voss. Yet they ask permission to dock. They send 3 unarmed diplomats. They offer technology freely. Does this sound like conquerors? Ambassador Quern raised a hand for calm. Let us examine what we know factually. They are Deathworlders, evolved in conditions that would kill most of us. Their physical capabilities likely exceed ours significantly. Their technology surpasses ours in multiple fields. Their military power is overwhelming. All of this is true. And terrifying, added a Keltern representative. Also true, Quern agreed. But consider their actions, not just their capabilities. Captain Hall could have demanded entry. He requested it. He could have threatened us. He thanked us. Dr. Ford could have withheld their database. She shared it completely. Are these the actions of a hostile species? Brell pulled up analysis reports. I have reviewed their historical data. Human conflicts were brutal but showed increasing restraint over time. Their last major war ended 143 years ago. Their current government structure emphasizes cooperation and peaceful resolution. Their art and literature show a species that questions itself constantly, always striving to be better. Or they show us what they want us to see, Gren argued. How do we know their database is truthful? We don't, Quern said honestly. We must make a judgment based on incomplete information, as we always do in first contact situations. But I have looked into Captain Hall's eyes. I have watched how his delegation behaves. Either they are the most sophisticated liars in galactic history, or they are genuinely peaceful. The debate raged for hours. Some representatives wanted immediate rejection. Others pushed for acceptance. Most fell somewhere in between, weighing risks against benefits. Then Brell spoke quietly. I have been calculating human industrial capacity. Based on their ability to build ships of that size, suggests they could revolutionize console manufacturing within a decade. Their gravity manipulation technology alone would transform everything from transportation to construction to medicine. Their fusion power systems are 3 generations ahead of ours. If they share even a fraction of what they have shown, every council world benefits enormously. If we survive the alliance, Gren muttered. A junior Havresh diplomat raised a claw hesitantly. May I speak? Quern nodded. The floor is yours. I have been reviewing human entertainment media from their database. Their fiction, what they create for enjoyment. Many stories are about first contact with aliens. Do you know what pattern appears most often? Silence. The young diplomat continued. Humans imagine themselves as the weaker species meeting powerful aliens. In their stories, they fear being conquered or destroyed. They dream of being accepted as equals. This psychological insight suggests they genuinely understand our current fear because they have imagined being in our position. Voss's feathers ruffled with interest. They fear the same things we fear. They want the same things we want. Perhaps, Gren said, or perhaps they simply understand how to manipulate us. Before Quern could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Every representative's personal display lit up with emergency notifications. Brell's webbed hands flew across his controls. Unknown vessels entering the system, 6 ships, aggressive configuration, weapons hot. His voice was tight. They match profiles from previous raids on Council shipping, the Broken Clans. The Broken Clans, pirates who preyed on Council trade routes, vicious, unpredictable, and surprisingly well-armed for criminals. They had attacked convoys 6 times in the past year. 47 Council crew members had died in those raids. Our fleet, Gren barked, status. Scattered across the system on patrol routes. They can converge on our position, but it will take 22 minutes. Station defenses. Shields can hold for perhaps 10 minutes under concentrated fire, maybe less. The main display showed the 6 raider ships accelerating toward the station. They were smaller than Council warships, only 2 kilometers each, but they had been modified extensively. More weapons, heavier armor. They looked like predators closing on wounded prey. A transmission came through, crude, mocking. A scarred Vorgeth with missing teeth appeared on screen. Council cowards, we see your big friend in orbit. We want that ship. Surrender it to us or we start shooting your pretty station. You have 5 minutes to decide. The transmission cut off. Quern's mind raced. The Council fleet could not arrive in time. Station shields would fail under sustained assault. Thousands of civilians were aboard, families, children, scientists who had never held a weapon in their lives. We have to evacuate, someone said. Not enough time, Brell replied quietly. Not everyone, we would lose hundreds. Gren's scales had gone completely black. We have no choice. Send a distress signal to Titan's Herald. They are our only option. They have no obligation to help us, another representative protested. We have not even accepted their alliance offer. They could refuse. They could simply watch us die. Or they could help, Quern said. He opened a channel before anyone could stop him. Captain Hall, this is Ambassador Quern. We are under attack by 6 hostile vessels. Our defenses are insufficient. Our fleet cannot arrive in time. We request your assistance, please. The seconds ticked by in agonizing silence. The raider ships were accelerating, 3 minutes until they entered firing range. Then Hall's voice came through, calm and measured. Message received, Station Harmony. We are moving to intercept. Please take cover. All civilians to interior compartments. This will be over quickly. Through the observation windows, the Titan's herald moved. Despite its massive size, it accelerated smoothly and fast. Position lights along its hull flared bright blue. Weapon systems powered up with visible energy discharges. The ship placed itself directly between the station and the incoming raiders. "What is he doing?" someone whispered. "His job," Quern replied softly. "He is protecting those who cannot protect themselves." The raider ship slowed, apparently reconsidering their attack. The Titan dwarfed them utterly, but their leader was either brave or stupid. Another transmission came through. "Big ship means big cargo. Stand aside or we destroy you both." Captain Hall's response was glacially cold. "This is Captain David Hall of the United Human Nations starship Titan's Herald. You are threatening civilians and attacking a diplomatic station. Power down your weapons and surrender immediately. This is your only warning." The scarred Vorgeth laughed. "Humans, never heard of you. You die like everyone else." All 6 raider ships opened fire simultaneously. Quern watched in horror as plasma torpedoes, kinetic rounds, and energy beams converged on the human vessel. Enough firepower to cripple a council cruiser. Enough to kill thousands. The Titan's herald shields flared brilliant blue. Every shot was absorbed. The energy readings barely fluctuated. It was like shooting spitwads at a mountain. Then the humans returned fire. Not with their main weapons, with point defense systems, small railguns designed to intercept missiles. 8.3 seconds later, all 6 raider ships were drifting in space, engines destroyed, weapons offline, hulls intact. Not one raider had died. The council chamber was absolutely silent. Brell stared at his instruments. His amphibious biology meant he rarely experienced shock, but his nervous system was definitely experiencing something close to it right now. The data streaming across his screens defied belief. "Those were point defense weapons," he said aloud, though mostly to himself. "Small-caliber railguns meant to stop incoming missiles. Each projectile was approximately 20 kilograms traveling at 0.15% of light speed. The kinetic energy alone," he trailed off, doing calculations. "Each shot hit with more force than our cruiser main batteries." Gren's claws gripped his console hard enough to leave marks. And those were not their actual weapons. Their main armament is still dormant. On the main display, the disabled raider ships tumbled slowly in space. Emergency lights flickered on their hulls. Life support was still functioning. The humans had surgically destroyed every weapon and engine while leaving crew compartments untouched. It was precision beyond anything the Council military could achieve. Captain Hall's voice came through the communications system. "Station Harmony, threats neutralized. No casualties on any side. The raider vessels are disabled, but their crews are alive and unharmed. Would you like us to secure them for your security forces?" Quern found his voice after several false starts. "Yes, thank you, Captain. That was remarkably precise. We prefer to solve problems with minimal loss of life, whenever possible, Ambassador." Small human boarding craft launched from the Titan's Herald. They approached the disabled raiders and attached to their hulls. Through long-range sensors, the Council watched as human Marines entered each vessel. The raiders surrendered without resistance. Within 15 minutes, all 6 crews were in custody. Council security ships finally arrived, belatedly. The human Marines transferred prisoners with careful documentation. Medical scans showed the raiders were uninjured, except for minor bumps from sudden deceleration. Several had received first aid from human medics for those injuries. They gave medical care to their enemies, Voss said quietly. They disabled 6 warships in seconds, and then they bandaged the crews. Quern requested a direct channel to Captain Hall. The human appeared on screen, looking tired but calm. Behind him, the bridge of Titan's Herald was visible. It was surprisingly spare, focused on function over aesthetics. Crew members moved efficiently between stations. All appeared relaxed, professional. No panic despite having just engaged in combat. Captain Hall, the Council owes you a debt of gratitude. You saved thousands of lives today. Hall shook his head slightly. We did what anyone should do when civilians are threatened, but I need to be very clear with you, Ambassador. I want the Council to understand exactly what you witnessed. He gestured and tactical displays appeared, shared to the Council's systems. Diagrams showed the engagement from multiple angles. Numbers scrolled past, detailing every shot fired. Those ships threatened innocent people. We responded with the minimum force necessary to neutralize the threat without loss of life. Our point defense railguns are designed to intercept incoming missiles and fighter craft. They are our smallest, least powerful weapons. Brell's hands trembled slightly as he pulled up the data. Captain, your point defense systems hit harder than our main batteries. Yes, Hall said simply. I apologize for that disparity, but I need you to understand the full situation. Our main batteries fire 500-ton projectiles at 0.4% of light speed. We have never fired them at a living target. I pray we never have to. The Council representatives sat in stunned silence while their scientists did the mathematics. The kinetic energy from those weapons would be catastrophic. A single shot would have more destructive power than tactical nuclear weapons. The Titan's Herald had 312 visible weapon ports. You could sterilize a planet, someone whispered. We could, Hall admitted. Which is why we build our ships this way. Overwhelming defensive capability to ensure we never have to use overwhelming offensive capability. We want our mere presence to prevent conflicts, not start them. Quern understood the strategy instantly. You build to intimidate so you never have to fight. Exactly, though clearly these particular raiders were too ignorant or desperate to take the hint. Gren leaned forward. Why did you not destroy them? They attacked you. They threatened civilians. By every military doctrine I know, you had justification for lethal response. Hall was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice carried weight. Security Chief, I have been in real combat. I have seen what war truly costs. Every being who dies in battle is someone's child, someone's friend, someone's loved one. Those raiders made terrible choices today, but they are still living beings who deserve a chance to choose differently tomorrow. We disabled them. We captured them. Now your justice system can address their crimes, but we do not deal death casually just because we can. Dr. Ford appeared beside Hall on screen. If I may add something, human history is full of wars fought because someone with power decided might made right. We learned very painfully that power without restraint leads only to more suffering. We choose restraint not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to make that choice. Voss was reviewing economic projections again, but now with different context. A species that could build weapons like this but chose not to use them represented something unprecedented. Power paired with conscience. Capability paired with compassion. Captain Hall, Quern said slowly, you asked to join the Council. You offered friendship and alliance. After what we have witnessed today, I must ask directly, what do you truly want from us? Hall smiled genuinely. Exactly what we said before, Ambassador, friends, partners, a place in the galactic community. We have been alone among the stars for 8 decades. We have explored dead worlds and empty space and heard nothing but cosmic silence. Then we found you. We found 47 species working together, sharing knowledge, building something larger than any single civilization. That is what humanity wants to be part of. Not to conquer, not to dominate, just to belong. Lieutenant Grant stepped into view beside his captain. Sir, the raider ships have been fully secured. Council security has taken custody of all prisoners. They are requesting our after-action reports. Transmit everything. Full transparency. Hall turned back to the Council. We will provide you with complete tactical data from the engagement. Sensor logs, weapons performance, everything. We have nothing to hide. Quern made a decision. Captain, please return to your quarters. The Council needs to complete our deliberations, but I suspect they will be much shorter than originally planned. After the transmission ended, Quern looked at his fellow representatives. Fear was still present in the chamber, but it had changed character. Not fear of what humans might do unprovoked, but healthy respect for what they could do if provoked. They could have destroyed those raiders, Quern said quietly. Not one member of this council would have blamed them. Instead, they captured them. They bandaged their wounds. They showed mercy to beings who showed them none. Brel nodded slowly. A species that evolved on a death world, that builds weapons capable of planetary destruction, that possesses the power to conquer half the galaxy, and they choose kindness. I did not think such a combination was possible. Neither did I, Gren admitted. His scales had returned to normal coloration. I wanted to reject them out of fear. I was wrong. We need allies like this, not enemies. Voss spread his wings in a gesture of agreement. The question is not whether they are powerful enough to threaten us. They obviously are. The question is what kind of beings they are. Today they showed us. They are exactly who they claim to be. Quern called for a vote. All those in favor of accepting humanity as allied species with path to full council membership. The result was overwhelming. Only 3 representatives still voted against, driven by fears that no evidence could fully dispel. 44 voted in favor. Humanity had been accepted. 3 days had transformed Station Harmony completely. The corridors that once echoed with nervous whispers now buzzed with excited conversation. Council members who had debated humanity's threat now argued over which human technologies to request first. The fear had not vanished entirely, but it had been joined by something stronger: hope. The Grand Hall had been decorated with symbols from all 47 council species. Now human flags joined them, deep blue fields with a golden representation of Earth, surrounded by 12 stars for the colonized systems. The fabric moved gently in the station's air circulation, looking almost alive. Captain Hall stood beside Ambassador Quern at the center of the hall. Both wore formal attire. Hall's dress uniform was immaculate, dark blue with golden trim and several medals on his chest. Quern wore the traditional robes of his species, iridescent fabric that shifted colors in the light. Behind them, representatives from every council species gathered. Dr. Ford and Lieutenant Grant flanked Hall, while Brel and Gren stood with Quern. A holographic image flickered to life above the central platform. An older human woman appeared, wearing a similar uniform to Hall's but with more decorations. Her gray hair was pulled back severely, and her eyes held the weight of command. I am Admiral Ruth Bennett, speaking on behalf of the United Human Nations from Earth. This transmission was sent before Captain Hall's departure, to be played upon successful first contact. Today, we celebrate not just a meeting of species, but the beginning of a friendship we have hoped for since we first reached for the stars. The hologram continued as Quern had seen it before, words of hope and cooperation that had been recorded months ago in optimism. It was strange to think humans had traveled here expecting welcome, carrying pre-written speeches of peace. Either tremendous confidence or tremendous faith in the goodness of strangers. When the hologram ended, Dr. Ford approached a central podium. She carried a data storage device, ornate despite its small size. The treaty we propose is simple in structure but profound in implication. Mutual defense, meaning if council worlds are threatened, humanity responds as if our own worlds were threatened. Trade agreements establishing fair exchange rates and open markets. Cultural exchange programs allowing our peoples to learn from each other. Scientific cooperation with shared research and joint projects. and diplomatic protocols ensuring clear communication and conflict resolution. She placed the device on the podium. Every word has been reviewed by our legal scholars, our diplomats, and our ethicists. We believe it is fair to all parties. We hope you agree. Brel had already analyzed the treaty thoroughly. His scientific mind appreciated its clarity. No hidden clauses, no ambiguous language, just straightforward commitments that any honest party could fulfill easily. Quern stepped forward. The Council has reviewed your proposal. We find it acceptable with minor modifications to accommodate various species-specific needs. For example, several of our members have dietary requirements that make traditional diplomatic dinners impractical. We have added provisions for alternative meeting formats. Hall smiled. Entirely reasonable. We humans also recognize that our food would be inedible or even toxic to most of you, just as yours might be to us. Friendship does not require eating together, only understanding each other. The signing ceremony began. Each species representative approached the podium in order of their joining the council. The Norathi, who had founded the council 12,000 years ago, signed first. Brel made his mark using the traditional ink of his homeworld, blue-green and slightly luminescent. Then came the Keltern, the Saurik, the Havresh, each adding their unique signature in their unique way. Some species signed with claws that left precise marks. Others used specialized instruments. The crystalline Prismara representatives transmitted their agreement via harmonic resonance, which was recorded and stored. Each method was different but all meant the same thing: agreement, commitment, alliance. Finally, Captain Hall approached. He carried a simple pen, black metal worn smooth from use. "This belonged to my grandfather," he said quietly. "He was a diplomat during the formation of the United Human Nations. He believed in the power of words written in good faith. I carry it to remember that our greatest achievements come not from weapons or wealth, but from promises kept." He signed with careful precision. David Hall, representing humanity before the Galactic Council. The ink dried and the treaty was complete. The hall erupted in applause. 47 different species making sounds of celebration in 47 different ways. Chirps, hums, clicks, and calls blended together in chaotic harmony. Quern raised his hands for quiet. "We are now 48 species strong. 48 civilizations committed to peace, prosperity, and mutual advancement. Today we welcome friends who bring knowledge we need and strength we desperately lack. Today we prove the galaxy is large enough for all beings of goodwill." Hall's voice was thick with emotion when he responded. "Humanity has dreamed of this moment for centuries. We are not alone. We are welcomed. We are home. I promise you, on behalf of every human across all our worlds, we will honor this trust. We will share what we have learned. We will stand beside you against all threats. We will prove worthy of the faith you have shown us today." The celebration began in earnest. Council members approached the humans with questions, offers, and simple curiosity. Dr. Ford was immediately surrounded by scientists eager to discuss biological research. Lieutenant Grant found himself explaining Earth martial arts to fascinated Sauric warriors. Hall moved through the crowd, shaking hands or performing equivalent greetings for species without hands. Voss cornered Hall at one point, pulling him aside. "Captain, I must ask a question that others might consider rude." "Ask freely, Trade Minister. Honest questions are never rude." "Your ship, the Titan's Herald, what did it cost to build?" Hall considered. "In human currency, approximately 800 billion credits. In time, 6 years from keel laying to launch. In resources, the combined output of 3 orbital construction facilities and 4 planetary manufacturing centers." Voss's feathers went rigid. "That was more than the entire Council military budget for a decade. And you have 7 of these ships." "Currently, yes. We are constructing 3 more. They take time to build properly." "Why so many? Surely exploration does not require such investment." Hall's expression became serious. Trade Minister, we hope for peace. We prepare for reality. The galaxy is vast and mostly unexplored. We have no idea what exists in the spaces between civilizations. Perhaps only friends like you. Perhaps things far less friendly. We build these ships so that whatever we encounter, we can respond appropriately, to protect, to defend, to ensure humanity and our friends survive. Voss understood. Humans thought in terms of centuries, not years. They built for futures they might never see. It was simultaneously admirable and slightly frightening. Later, Gren approached Lieutenant Grant. Your Marines performed impressively during the raider boarding. Thank you, Security Chief. They train extensively for non-lethal engagement. Why? In military doctrine, eliminating threats permanently is more efficient. Grant's expression hardened slightly. Because efficiency is not the only measure of success. Those raiders were people who made bad choices. We gave them a chance to make better choices. Some will not, but we gave them the chance. That matters. Gren's scales flickered thoughtfully. Human military philosophy is unusual. Perhaps, but it is ours. We fight to protect, not to destroy. As the celebration continued, Brell found himself in conversation with Dr. Ford about Earth's oceans. The descriptions fascinated him. Water covering 70% of the surface. Creatures living kilometers deep in crushing pressure and absolute darkness. Evolution taking paths utterly different from land animals. Your species evolved on land, yet you clearly love the ocean, Brell observed. Ford smiled. Humans are drawn to water. We cannot explain why entirely. Perhaps because our earliest ancestors came from the sea billions of years ago. Perhaps because water means life on our world. Perhaps simply because it is beautiful. Beauty, Brell mused. An aesthetic judgment. You value things beyond pure function. Always, efficiency matters, but so does joy. We build sturdy ships, but we also paint them. We create powerful weapons, but we also compose symphonies. We are practical dreamers, Security Chief. We need both to be fully human. The hours passed in conversation and celebration. Agreements were made for technology exchanges. Human gravity manipulation principles would be shared in return for Council biological sciences. Joint research stations were proposed. Student exchange programs planned. Trade routes mapped. The practical work of alliance was beginning. The celebration was winding down when Brell's personal display chimed urgently. He excused himself from a conversation about comparative xenobiology and checked the alert. His expression changed instantly from relaxed to alarmed. Ambassador Quern, we have a situation. His voice cut through the ambient conversation. The hall quieted quickly. What is it? Quern asked, already moving toward the scientist. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple gravity wells appearing at the edge of Council space. Unknown signatures, large vessels. They match no known species in our database. Brell's webbed fingers flew across his datapad, pulling up sensor data for the main display. Initial count is 12 ships, minimum size 8 kilometers each. They are not broadcasting any identification signals. The festive atmosphere evaporated. Captain Hall was beside them in seconds, his celebration mood gone, replaced by focused alertness. How long until they reach inhabited systems? At current speed, approximately 4 days. Time to mobilize Council fleet. Gren answered immediately. Full mobilization requires 3 days minimum. Coordination across multiple systems is complex. Hall touched a communication device on his wrist. Titan's Herald, this is the captain. Status report. Lieutenant Grant's voice came back instantly. All systems nominal, sir. We can be underway in 30 minutes. Prep for departure but hold position. I want a full sensor sweep of those unknown vessels first. Maximum range, all bands. Acknowledged. Dr. Ford had moved to stand with Brell, studying the sensor data. Mass signatures suggest heavy construction. warships or colony vessels, given those dimensions. Could be either, Hall agreed. Or something else entirely. We need more information before jumping to conclusions. Quern appreciated the human captain's restraint. After the raider incident, it would have been easy to assume hostility. Instead, Hall was gathering data, considering options. This was why the treaty mattered. Cool heads making measured decisions. "Captain, what do you recommend?" Quern asked. "We investigate cautiously. My ship has superior sensors and shields. We can approach closer than Council vessels safely. If they are peaceful, we establish contact using the same protocols you used with us. If they are hostile, we determine their capabilities and develop appropriate response strategies." "And if they attack?" Hall's expression was grim. "Then we defend, but let us hope it does not come to that." Over the next hours, more data came in. The unknown vessels were moving deeper into Council space, but slowly, as if scanning or surveying. They maintained formation, suggesting military discipline or at least coordinated movement. No communications attempts from them. No responses to Council's standard first contact broadcasts. The Council fleet began deploying. 200 ships moving into defensive positions around key systems. It was impressive, but everyone knew the truth. If these newcomers had technology comparable to humans, the Council fleet was badly outmatched. The Titan's herald departed Station Harmony with a promise to report regularly. It accelerated toward the unknown vessels, moving faster than any Council ship could match. Within 12 hours, it would be close enough for detailed scans. Quern barely slept during those 12 hours. He stayed in the operations center, watching data feeds, coordinating fleet movements, and trying not to imagine worst-case scenarios. Brell remained with him, running endless calculations and simulations. "If they have weapons comparable to human systems," Brell said quietly during a lull, "we cannot win a direct confrontation. Our only advantage is numbers, and even that may not matter. Then we hope they are peaceful, or we hope our new human friends are as capable as they appear." The first detailed scans came in. Captain Hall transmitted directly to Quern's secure channel. The human looked tired but focused. "Ambassador, we have visual and sensor confirmation on the unknown vessels. I am sending you everything we have gathered." The data appeared on multiple displays. The ships were angular, aggressive in design, with heavy armor plating and visible weapon ports. But something was wrong. The power signatures were weak. Life support was minimal. Several ships showed damage to their hulls. "They are refugees," Dr. Ford's voice came through. She appeared beside Hall on screen. "These are not invasion ships. These are survivors." "Explain," Quern said. "Look at the wear patterns on the hulls. These vessels have been in space for years, possibly decades. The damage is old, poorly repaired. They are running on emergency power to conserve fuel. The formation they are holding is defensive, not offensive. These people are fleeing something, not attacking someone." Hall nodded agreement. "We have attempted communication on all frequencies. No response yet, but we are detecting some language fragments from their internal communications. Our translation systems are working on it. Should have something within an hour." Gren studied the tactical data. If they are refugees, why maintain weapons-hot status? Why not respond to hails? "Fear," Lieutenant Grant said simply. "They do not know us. They do not know if we are friendly or hostile. From their perspective, we are the unknown threat." The translation breakthrough came 43 minutes later. Dr. Ford looked exhausted but excited. "We have basic understanding. Their language has roots similar to the Keltern family, which helped. They call themselves the Remnant Fleet. They are the survivors of a species called the Torvak. Their homeworld was destroyed by something they call the Harvesters. They have been running for 6 years." "Harvesters?" Quern felt ice in his blood. "What are harvesters?" "They are not clear on that. Fear makes their transmissions difficult to parse. But from what we can understand, the harvesters are machines, autonomous war systems left over from some ancient conflict. They sweep through systems, destroying any technology they detect, then move on. The Torvak tried to fight. They lost. The operations center was silent. An ancient autonomous war machine sounded like something from nightmare scenarios, theoretical threats that wise species never actually built because the risks were too catastrophic. How many Torveks survived? Quern asked quietly. These 12 ships contain approximately 43,000 individuals. That is all that remains of their civilization. Billions died on their homeworld and the colony systems. Hall's voice was gentle but firm. Ambassador Quern, the Council must decide how to respond, but I want to be clear about humanity's position. These people need help. We have the capacity to provide it. Food, medical supplies, engineering support, safe harbor, whatever they need, we will offer it. Even though they could be lying, even though this could be a trick. It is not a trick, Dr. Ford said with certainty. I have analyzed their ship conditions in detail, the malnutrition rates in their population, the makeshift repairs, the desperation. No one fakes this level of suffering. These are real refugees who have lost everything. Quern looked at Brell and Gren. The scientist nodded slowly. The security chief hesitated, then did the same. If humans believe they are genuine, I trust that assessment. Their sensors are better than ours. Then we help them, Quern said. We cannot turn away people in need. That is not who the Council is. That is not who we want to be. Hall smiled, tired but genuine. I was hoping you would say that. We are already moving supply shuttles. With your permission, Titan's Herald will escort the remnant fleet to Station Harmony. Our shields can protect them if anything threatens during transit. Over the next days, the rescue operation unfolded. Human shuttles delivered food supplies. Council medical teams coordinated with Torvak doctors to treat the sick and injured. Engineers from a dozen species worked together to repair damaged ships. The remnant fleet, initially terrified of more strangers, gradually understood they had found friends. Their leader, an elderly Torvak named Elder Kryn, met with Quern and Hall via holographic conference. His species was reptilian with beautiful scale patterns, though malnutrition had dulled their colors. Tears ran down his face as he spoke. We thought we would die in the dark between stars. We had given up hope of finding anyone. Then you found us, you fed us, you protected us. Why, you do not know us. Quern answered before Hall could. Because it is right. Because we have the capacity to help and therefore the obligation to help. Because civilized beings do not abandon those in need. Hall added quietly, and because every species deserves a chance to rebuild after tragedy. Your people survived. That matters. We will help you survive tomorrow and the day after that. The Torvak were offered sanctuary on Council worlds. Their ships would be repaired, their people given homes, jobs, purpose. In time, they would recover. Their civilization would continue, smaller but alive. But the threat they had fled from remained. The harvesters, somewhere in the dark, destroying anything they found. The Council now faced a question it had never considered before: how to fight machines that had no fear, no mercy, no reason beyond their programming. In a private moment, Quern asked Hall, "Can humanity fight these harvesters if they come here?" Hall was quiet for a long moment. "I do not know, Ambassador, but I know this: we will fight them if they threaten you. That is what allies do. That is what friends do. We stand together or we fall alone." "Then we stand together," Quern said firmly. 48 species against whatever darkness comes. We will face it the way we face everything now. United. The Titan's Herald held position near Station Harmony, a silent guardian. The Council fleet patrolled their borders more carefully now. The universe had proven itself more dangerous than many had believed, but it had also proven that cooperation could overcome threats no single species could face alone. Humans had shown them that strength paired with compassion could change the galaxy. Now they would all learn what that truly meant when tested by forces that knew neither quality.